Welcome back to Real Estate in the Lowcountry. Drew Brown is back from the Vacation Company, and we are talking about rental as it pertains to fall. So we're kind of in fall. I mean, we are in fall.
Right. Doesn't feel like it.
No. I think it's supposed to feel like it coming up here in a couple of days.
Let's hope.
Yeah. But what does that mean for the rental season, rental market?
So just a different time of the year in terms of the length of stay. So we see a lot of shorter stays and a lot of different time frames for people when they want to come in. So we'll get Wednesday to Wednesday requests or Monday to Monday. Actually, this past week, the first week of October was one of the bigger weeks because it's also with Columbus Day. It's a time frame that a lot of schools are out. So we were, I don't know if you saw the traffic around the island, it was extremely busy, and we were had a very high level of occupancy. But it's really, this time of year is about trying to just capitalize on those opportunities. You know, not a lot of people have the ability to travel right now. So we really look at just trying to taking every instance that we can try to add that revenue for the homeowner to maximize their bottom line. Well,
and definitely, if they do have the time, the ability to travel, they probably don't have the time to go for a whole week.
Absolutely
true. So, you know, having those shorter times to offer them is really valuable.
Right, and it's somewhat newer to our market. Not a lot of people, in terms of rental companies, are really doing that as much and not having that flexibility. And for us, it's, you know, if we can get those type of guests in, those are also the future buyers of the marketplace. So it kind of helps us on both angles.
Well, and now that we are in fall, it's kind of, we have the two festival seasons, you know, spring and fall. So we're having all of our fall festivals and things like that right now. How does that affect the market?
It's actually a great draw. And that kind of goes to the point that I was just making. You see a lot of people that are coming in want to experience the lifestyle. What we see now with Hilton Head is it has such a reputation as a vacation destination, but it also has a lifestyle destination reputation as well. So people want to come in and they'll go to some of these festivals and they'll be able to experience those very fun events, but then they start to think about, hey, well, what if we, you know, would live here? I hear clients and prospective clients all the time saying, you know, we're here now to look at a piece of property, but we're not going to retire for, say, 5 or 10 years. And that's where vacation rentals and property management really ends up becoming, you know, that right answer for them, because we can help them, A, afford the property, but we can also manage it for them while they're trying to get towards retirement.
Yeah. And what does it look like for somebody who already owns a rental property? What does this time of the year look like for them?
Yeah, so this is really the kind of the recap time. You want to try and take those opportunities that come in at the last minute for bookings, but also you really want to try and understand where you're at for the year from a rental standpoint. You know, what things do you need to think about in terms of upgrade for the following year? What kind of feedback did you get from your previous guests? You know, if you see a pattern, those are things you want to address, because that way you can add more repeat rentals for this year, for the next year. And that's where our phone rings a lot, is, you know, people reaching out and just trying to understand, are they working with the best manager or the best partner, and, you know, how we might be able to help them.
So even though it might be a little bit of a slower time, it is time to do some of those fixer-upper things.
Correct. Yeah. This is actually my busiest time of the year. This is really from the middle of September through Thanksgiving, because homeowners are really taking stock, you know, whether it's from a distance and looking at the reservations and their bookings, or actually coming in town and seeing the condition of the property and then saying, okay, well, we might need to reassess here. So yeah, and just for instance, we've onboarded 8 properties in the last week, which is great. It's just a matter of, we want to make sure every client feels that we're addressing their needs, and that's really what's most important to us.
Well, and what you just said is they sometimes come and take a look at it, but they might not. So you guys are really their eyes on the ground to see what's going on, and you walk through all of those fixing issues.
Correct. You know, so what we'll typically do is what's called a needs assessment. So we'll walk in, we'll go through the property with a fine-tooth comb and say, if you want this to be 100% above board and be, you know, ready for the level and caliber of guests that we have coming in, here's what we would recommend. But more so, then we have the staff to help people do that. So the property managers are the ones that are actually executing the majority of those things. We're not going to try and source those things out. We want the person that's going to be responsible for the property to do it. And it really helps us because they understand the property so much more in depth. So when those guests do come in, they know the property inside and out.
Right. It's their little baby.
It is. Yeah. And we have over 350 of those.
But you have a lot of help. You have a lot of property
managers.
We
do, yeah. So there's 12 property managers.
The ability to take care of all of that.
Correct. 12 property managers and growing. And that's just for on-site maintenance and on-site management of the properties. And then we have another 8 internal property managers. So we have 20 property managers between all of our properties.
Yeah. And you've been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Yeah, so make sure you get to Drew if you have any questions about vacation rental business.